Our objective is to solve a system of equations by using a graphing calculator. Okay, in this lesson we are going to solve systems of equations by using our graphing calculator. There are two methods that we're going to use. One method will be solved by using the y equals function in our calculator, and the second one will be using the matrix function in our calculator. If you have my notes, then you have a step-by-step directions on how to do this. Step 1, put equations in slope intercept 2. Step 2, do, whatever. However, I'm not going to show that, and I'm not going to write that down because I don't have the space for it. Also, it would make the video entirely too long. However, I am going to show you the steps. The left side of my screen, those are my notes. I can write on the left side. I can write on the left side just like I do with my other videos. Okay, on the right side is my graphing calculator. I will not be able to write on the right side where you see just the graphing calculator. However, on the right side, if you look at the bottom portion, the bottom left hand portion of the graphing calculator screen, it will show you it says clear key press history. Okay, that little box at the bottom, every time I push a button, it'll show you which buttons that I'm pushing. So you will be able to see everything that I'm doing, and I'll also go slow enough so you'll be able to keep up. It's a fairly simple process, especially this first one. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, our first example, we're just solving a system of equations by using the graphing calculator, and we're going to use our y equals. If you look here, you see when I push the y equals, it turns red. And then it'll give you a list of all of these y equals 1 through 9 that you can see on the screen. That's where we're going to put our information in. So the first thing that you have to know when you're solving a system using your y equals is that your equation must be in slope-intercept form. And fortunately enough for us, the very first one is already in slope-intercept form. So the first equation, the one at the top, I'm going to plug that one into my y1. And then the second one, I'm just going to plug that into y2. So I go over to my graphing calculator. I hit the y equals. Notice when I hit that, it lights up in red. When I hit something, it's going to shine in red. Now I'm going to plug in my equation. The first one, I have a negative 1/2 x. Also, when I'm using my graphing calculator, if I have fractions, I like to put them in parentheses. I have a negative 1/2 x. Also notice that I put the variable outside. I have the fraction inside, I have the variable outside. Okay? 1/2 x plus 3. And then enter. So that's my first equation. My second equation, which is 3/4 x minus 2, I'll put that in y2. So once again, my fraction, that slope, I'm going to put it in parentheses. So there's 3/4 x minus 2. Now, once I have both equations in my y equals, now I'm ready to calculate their intersection. So I'll hit second and the trace key that's at the top of the calculator, second and trace, and it'll take me to this screen where it says calculate. I want to know, well, where do these two graphs intersect? So you see this number 5 that's showing on the screen. I can draw an arrow to it here, but I can't draw on my calculator key screen, keypad. It says intersect, so I'll hit number 5. Now, it's going to take it a second for it to draw both graphs. Excuse me. And this is exactly the same thing you would have gotten if you had been solving the equations by graphing. And that's actually the very first thing that we did. We solved by graphing, and this is what we did. We drew both graphs by hand, and we saw where they intersect. Wherever they intersect, that's our solution. But with the graphing calculator, it's doing all the work for us. Now, once we let the calculator finish drawing the graphs, it's going to ask me 3 questions. The first one says first curve. I'll hit enter. The second one says second curve. I'll hit enter. Then it'll say guess. I'll hit enter again, and then it'll give me the intersection. It says that the intersection is 4, 1. So that means that that's our solution. So for the first one, our solution is simply 4, 1. Okay? It's a fairly simple process, especially if they're already in slope-intercept form. All you have to do is put them in your y equals and find that intersection. Okay, let's try this next one together. We're going to do 2 of these together, and then you'll stop the video and try 2 on your own. Now this next one, clearly you see it's not in slope-intercept form. It's in standard form. First rule is that it has to be in slope-intercept form. So I'll go ahead and put them in slope-intercept form. I'm going to call the first one y1 because that's where I'm going to put it. Okay. The first equation, I have 2x plus 3y equals a negative 6. If I were to put that in slope-intercept form, it would give me a negative 2/3 x. Let me fix that. That's a little messy to see. A negative 2/3 x minus 2. Now, you'll also notice that I didn't go step by step putting it in slope-intercept form. If you are still having trouble with that, I do have a video up transforming standard form into slope-intercept form. I suggest you go back and take a look at that, okay? So for the second one, if that one was in slope-intercept form, it would give me a negative 8/3 x plus 4. Okay, so now I have both equations in slope-intercept form. Now I'm ready to go over here to my calculator. Once again, I hit my y equals, and I can clear these out. I can clear that out what's in y1 by hitting clear. And if I want to go to y2, I'll just use my arrow key and I'll arrow down and it'll take me to y2 and I'll hit clear again. Okay? Now I want to go back up to y1, so I'll just hit my arrow key and I'll move back up. So now I'm ready to plug my information in. The first equation was a negative 2/3 x minus 2. And I'll hit enter. Once I hit enter, it takes me to the next y equals. So for the second y equals, I'll need to put in that second equation, and it was a negative 8/3 x plus 4. Okay? At this point, I'm doing the same thing that I did once before. Now, once I get both graphs in, I need to calculate. I need to know where they're going to intersect. So I'll hit the second key and trace, second and trace. I want to know the points of intersection, so I'll hit number 5. Give it a second, let it draw it out for you. If you don't let it draw it, it'll tend to freeze up your screen. It'll ask me the 3 questions, and I'll hit enter 3 times. First curve, enter. Second curve, enter. Guess, enter. And it gave me the intersection of 3, negative 4. So that means that my solution is 3, negative 4. Now what I want you to do at this point, I want you to pause the video. I want you to pause the video, try the next 2 problems that are in example 1 by yourself, then restart the video to check your answers. Okay, if you restarted the video, that means you're ready to check your answers on the next 2. So let me pull the next 2 up so I can see them a little bit better. So you can check your answers. Okay, so now we have the system y equals 1/2 x plus 2 and y equals 3x minus 3. So this one is already in slope-intercept form for us. So we just simply need to go over here to y equals and plug them into y1 and y2. The first one, I like putting, once again, I like putting my fractions in parentheses. I have a 1/2 x plus 2. Enter. And the next one I have 3x minus 3. Now I'm ready for the intersection. I'll hit second and trace. I'm looking for the intersection, so I'll hit number 5. I'll let it draw out the graphs for us, and this is exactly what we would have done if we were solving by hand, solving by graphing, doing everything out by hand. It's just that the calculator is a beautiful thing and it's doing it for us. It's going to ask us 3 questions. We hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and it gives me the intersection of 2, 3. So that means that my solution is 2, 3. Because after all, that is what we're looking for when you're solving a system. What do they have in common? What point do they have in common? And then the last one that you had to do on your own, it's in standard form, so of course you had to put that in slope-intercept form first. Okay, so for my first one, I have x plus 2y equals 6. Once I transform that into slope-intercept form, it will give me a negative 1/2 x plus 3. And then the second equation, in standard form, it's 3x plus 2y equals 2. Once I put that in slope-intercept form, it gives me a negative 3/2 x plus 1. Okay? Once I get them in slope-intercept form, go back over to my calculator, hit my y equals. If I clear them out, that's fine. If not, you really can actually type over them. It really doesn't matter. In the first one, I have a negative 1/2, negative 1/2 x plus 3, enter. And then I have, for the second one, a negative 3/2 x plus 1. Once I get my data in, I'm ready to calculate the intersection of the 2 lines. So I hit second and trace. I know I want the intersection, so I hit number 5 for intersect. I'll give it a second to draw the lines out. Okay, and then I'll hit enter 3 times. First curve, enter. Second curve, enter. Guess, enter. And it gives me my solution as negative 2, 4. Okay, that was fairly simple. Okay, for example 2, we're still solving systems of equations. However, this time we're going to use a different method. We're going to use the matrix feature in our calculator. And once again, if you have the notes, you do have it in front of you step by step what to do. So if you get lost, just jump back in. It is a little bit confusing. It is a little bit confusing with my students. I would give them the step-by-step instructions. However, if you just listen to it and do what I'm telling you to do, it actually works out a little bit better. And make sure you're watching my calculator keypad. When I plug in a number, make sure you hit that same key. That way, you can keep up and you won't get lost, you won't get confused. And it's going to take you doing it a couple of times before you actually get the process down. It does seem a little bit longer, but it's fairly simple. And I actually like this better because if my answer is a fraction, doesn't matter. I don't have to change anything. It still shows up. If I'm working word problems, once I get my equations set up, if they're in standard form, good. I don't have to change anything. Okay. So the first one that we're going to solve together is negative 3x plus y equals a negative 25, and 5x plus 8y equals a negative 26. What I did do, I wrote down steps 1 through 5, what it should look like on the calculator. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is I want to show you where the matrix is on the graphing calculator if you don't know. If you hit the second key, see it just shined in red, and if you go down 1, 2, 3 more keys, you'll see x to the negative 1 power, and right above it it says matrix. If you hit second and that x to the negative 1, it takes you to this screen. and this is where we're going to enter our data, okay? So once we're there, we're going to enter two matrices. If you've never used them before, if you've never used this feature before, you don't have anything there. If you do and you have something in there already, that's okay because we can type over it. Don't fret. Don't let that worry you, okay? So now, if I'm at this screen, once again, if you didn't get that, I just hit second and I move down 1, 2, 3 keys and I hit that X to the -1. It brought me here. Now I'm ready to enter the information. We've got step 1 out of the way. Well, actually we didn't. We just got to the screen. So now I'm ready to go ahead and enter information. I use my arrow key and I scroll over to edit. If I want to input data, I have to edit. I'm going to use number 1. So I'll hit number 1. And now it takes me to a 1 by 1. Well, I don't have enough space to enter the information that I need. So from here, I'm going to hit number 2, enter. Number 2 again and enter. Now I have 4 spaces in order to enter my data, and that's what I need. So I have a matrix A and it's a 2 by 2, which gave me 4 spaces. Okay, so step 1, we've got it out of the way. Now we're ready for step 2. Well, you may be saying, okay, that's real pretty, but where did you get these numbers from? I got the numbers from the actual equation, the actual system. I'm using the coefficients. Okay, I'm using my coefficients. So for the first equation, my x coefficient is -3. The y is 1. Remember, when you don't see a number, it's understood that there's a 1 there. For the second equation, my x coefficient is 5 and my y is 8. Okay, so that's where I got these numbers from. And also notice that I put them in the same order. I have at the top -3 and 1, and at the bottom 5 and 8. So let's go back over to our calculator keypad, and I'm going to plug my information in. I put in -3, enter. And once you hit enter, it hops over to the next space that you need to be at. So now I'll put in the coefficient for y, it was 1, and I'll hit enter. Now I'm ready to put in the coefficients for the second equation. So I'll put in 5, enter, and the coefficient for the y was 8, so I'll put 8 and enter again. Okay, so now I have that done. Step 2 is done. Now I'm ready for step 3. So in order to do step 3, I need to go back second, matrix again. I have to put in data for matrix B. So once again, what did I do? I hit second and that x to the -1, and it took me back to this screen. So once again, if I need to put information in, if I need to enter data, I have to edit. So I'll scroll over to edit. This time I want to put the information in number 2. So I'll hit number 2. And I'm going to do that again because most of the time when I'm teaching students this, they try to go too fast, and what they'll do is they'll hit enter and they're still in matrix A and they don't realize it. So I hit second, x to the -1. I scroll over to edit. This time I'm hitting number 2. Make sure at the top of your make sure you're paying attention to your calculator view screen, and it has matrix B and you're not in matrix A. It should once again say 1 by 1. This time we're going to open it up to a 2, enter, 1, enter. This time I need to be able to put 2 numbers in. Okay? So it should be, matrix B should be a 2 by 1. So once I do that, step 3 is taken care of. Now you may be asking yourself, okay, now that's real pretty, but where are you going to get the numbers from? Well, I'm going to get the numbers from the constants. Here I have the top equation. It says equals -25. For the bottom equation, it says equals -26. That's where I got the numbers from. and I'm putting them in the exact same order, okay? So I go back over here to my calculator. For the top number, I should have negative 25, enter, and then I'll put in negative 26, enter again, okay? So that means step 4. Once we get that in there, step 4 is done for us. Now we're ready for step 5. For step 5, I need to go back to my home screen. So on my calculator keypad, I'll hit second mode. Once again, if you got lost, I hit second and mode, and it took me back to my blank home screen. Okay, now this is very important. Make sure you're paying attention. Now I need to enter this information as it appears here that I have in step 5 in my notes. I need to enter that. The way I do that, I hit second, x to the negative 1. I want to put matrix A first, so I hit number 1, and it will give me matrix A. Then that little x to the negative 1 button we've been using, that little key, that's the inverse button. So I'll hit that because I want the inverse of matrix A. You have to have that. Very important. A lot of students will forget to put that in, and they'll come up with an answer, and it's real pretty, but it's real wrong. So make sure that you put that in. Okay? Now I need to put that matrix B there. The way I do that, I hit second, matrix again, that x to the negative 1. This time I want matrix B, so I have to hit number 2. And it puts matrix B there. Now you'll see that my calculator key screen looks exactly like what I put here for step 5. Exact same thing. Now I just want to hit enter. Now, if you look over to the right of your calculator key screen, the top number is a 6 and the bottom number is a negative 7. Top number I have 6, bottom number I have negative 7. The top is always the x, the bottom is the y. So over here for my solution, my solution is 6, negative 7. Now this one seems a little bit longer, but like I said, if I'm working word problems with my students and we have to set the equation up, once we get the equation set up and it's in standard form, I want to be able to work it that way. Also, no matter what your number is, if I have a fraction, if it's a very large number, it's going to show up. Whereas on your y equals, you may have to change your window setting to find certain answers, and I don't want to do that. Okay? So that's why I like this one. Let me pull up my next equation. We're going to try this one together. Try to go slow enough for you. Okay? First thing I want to do is I want to write the entries for matrix A and B. So for matrix A, my entries would be negative 8. So I got that one here. Okay? The second one would be negative 8. That's my y. Now for the next equation, the x coefficient is negative 3. And the second coefficient for y is negative 9. Okay? That's matrix A. And that's where we get the data from. Okay? For my matrix B, I simply get that from the constants. It said that the top equation, it says equals negative 24, so the top number here should be negative 24. The second equation says equals 15, so the bottom number here should be 15. Okay, now we have our information. Let's go ahead and plug in. I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Not necessary to do it, but I'm just going to clear it out. Okay. So now I'm at my calculator again. I'm going to hit second, x to the negative 1. First thing I need to do, I need to enter the information for matrix A. So if I'm going to enter, that means I need to edit. So I scroll over to edit. Matrix A is number 1. It's already at 2 by 2. That's what I need it to be at because I need 4 spaces. So I'd enter, enter. Now I put my information in. -8, enter. -8, enter. For the second equation, -3, enter. -9, enter. Okay, so now I have all the information in for matrix A. So now I want to hit second, x to the -1. I'm going back to my matrix screen. I need to enter the data for B. So if I'm entering data, that means I'm going to edit. This time I'm doing matrix B, so make sure that you hit number 2 for matrix B. Matrix B is already at a 2 by 1. So hit enter, enter. Now I can plug in my information. Top number was a -24. Enter. Bottom number was 15. Enter. Once I have the data in for A and B, I'm ready to go to my home screen. Now I'm ready to calculate the solution. So I hit second, x to the -1, number 1. Do not forget to put that x, that little x to the -1. Don't forget to hit that key. That's your inverse key. Don't forget to put that. Like I said, you'll get an answer. It'll be real pretty, but it'll be real wrong too. Okay. So once again, I'll hit second, x to the -1 from. Didn't mean to do that. Let me clear that out. Messed my own self up. Sorry. Let me go ahead and get this information back in real quick. Okay. So now I'll hit second again. And this time I need letter B. So that's number 2. I have matrix B. And if I hit enter, my solution is 7, -4. 7, -4. Now what I want you to do at this point, pause the video, try those next 2 on your own. If you need to go back and see, well, what did she do? What steps did she do? Go back and review the first 2 and try it on your own. I'm telling you, you think it may be too long, you think it's useless, but once, like I said, if you're doing word problems and you're talking about money or and those types of things, or if your answer is going to be extremely large, you don't have to change a view screen, or you don't have to change anything. It's going to show you your answers. Okay, so practice those 2 and then restart the video. I tried to go slow enough so that you could keep up and you wouldn't get lost. Okay, then restart your video and check your answers. Alrighty tighty, if you've restarted this video, I know that means you're ready to check your answers, so let's do that. The next system that we have, it's a -10x plus 3y equals 26. And that second equation is 9x minus 9y equals 27. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go ahead and write down the entries so you can at least see, hey, did I at least get the entries right if I messed up anything else. -10 for the first one, then 3, then 9, and -9. Also, I don't even think I said this, but make sure you are watching your signs. A lot of my students, they will drop their signs not really paying attention. So instead of putting a -10, they'll just put 10. Instead of putting -9, they'll put 9, and then they don't understand, well, why did I get the wrong answer? It's because you didn't put the right information in. Okay, so for matrix B, you should have 26 and 27. That's a 2 by 1 matrix. Okay, so now I go to my little hand calculator. I'll clear that. I don't really have to, but I just like to go ahead and clear it. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm ready to enter the data for matrix A, so I have to scroll over to edit. That's how I enter data. I have to edit it. It's already a 2 by 2, so I plug in my entries. I have a -10, 3, 9, and -9. Okay. Once I get A in, I go back to second matrix, plug in the data for matrix B. It's already a 2 by 1. That's exactly what I need. And the entries here are going to be 26 and 27. Enter. Okay. So now I'm ready to go to my home screen so I can let my little handy dandy calculator calculate my information for me. So once again, I go second matrix. I need number 1. I need matrix A. Don't forget that little inverse key. Have to have it. Second matrix number 2. Now my screen looks like it did in that step 5 that I put on there for you. And then I hit enter. My x value is -5 and my y value is -8. So that means that the solution to this system is -5 and -8. I hope I didn't go too fast for you. If you made a mistake, I hope you see where you made it. Even if you didn't, let's check out this last one. Okay, once again, I think I'll go ahead and write the entries down for you in case somebody out there is still confused. 4, 8, 5, and 7. It's a fairly simple process, so I would hope nobody would be confused. I hope I'm not confusing anyone, because that is not my intent. Matrix B, 28, 23. Okay, those are not the entries that you use. Please correct it. Now let's go over here and enter my information. Second matrix. I'm going to enter data, so I have to edit. My entries are 4, enter, 8, enter, 5, enter, and 7. Go back to matrix, second matrix. Now I have to enter the data in for B, so I'm hitting number 2. Make sure that you're on matrix B and you're just not constantly going back into matrix A and confused and don't know what's going on. My entries are 28 and 23. Enter. Now I'm ready to go to my home screen, and I'll hit second matrix number 1, the little inverse key that's right under math, then second matrix number 2, and then I'll hit enter again. My x value is -1, my y value is 4. So my solution here is -1, 4. And incidentally, I didn't tell you this, but if you already have the calculator key screen set up as matrix A, the inverse of matrix A times matrix B, and if it's already set up and you put new data in, if you just hit enter, it'll still give you the correct answer. You really don't have to keep clearing your calculator key pad. You don't have to keep clearing the view screen. Well, I hope this video has been of some use to someone. And if you like any more videos, please go to my YouTube site and check out some more. Thank you.